Hello, my wonderful, beautiful friends, guys. Welcome back to r/IDontWorkHereLady, where Karens seem to think that everybody's placed on Earth to serve them. And in today's episode, OP comes in to save the day when they see a deaf boy being harassed by a random woman. Guys, I hope you enjoy the lineup of stories today. Hit subscribe if you haven't. And as always, your crazy stories can be sent right here. I work as a videographer, filming kids' dance performances and making DVDs for the parents to buy, maybe watch once, and then store in their attic to never watch again. So on this day, I have a tripod with a camera and a little table set up in the back of the theater, with a small monitor. I'd been working for about 5 days straight, and I was running very low on sleep. Also, for me to legally film the performances, before each section starts, I have to get a signed form from any parents that want their child's performance filmed. So when I had a 4-hour section that none of the parents wanted filmed, I was super happy. I decided to rest my head and my arms on my little table, waiting for the next section. Now I must have been asleep for about 20 to 30 minutes when suddenly this one woman starts slapping me on the back, whisper shouting, "Hey, wake up, wake up!" I slowly rose my head, confused as all hell, and locked eyes with one particularly angry dance mom. When I locked eyes with the lady, she spat the sentence, "Wake the F up and do your damn job. What the F do you get paid for? Why are you sleeping? My little girl's been on stage for 5 minutes waiting for you to turn the effing music and the lights on." To which I appropriately replied, "Lady, this camera doesn't operate the lights and music. You might want to talk to the tech crew for that." I then put my head back down and went back to sleep. So a few minutes later, the tech crews must have sorted out their issues and the kid did her performance. After the section finished, the angry mother comes up to me and demands that I give her a free DVD of her child's performance to apologize for the tech crew screw-up. I decided that it was too difficult to explain how dumb she was, and I knew I'd never see this woman again, so I thought, you know what, I will give her a free DVD for her troubles. A blank DVD. I then apologized for being such a useless employee and told her to enjoy watching the performance back again. I doubt she'll watch the DVD anyway. No parent does. Oh, but I hope she does, guys. I really hope that she calls the whole family to her house, makes some popcorn, and then pops in that DVD only to find out that it's blank. And let me tell you, I'd love to be a fly on that wall when that happens, guys. Okay, so I just found this sub, and I do have a few stories I'd like to share. I thought I'd share one from my old job. I used to be a law enforcement officer on an Indian reservation. The tribe has a casino where an incident had taken place the day before. I didn't work at the casino, and I was almost never there. Either way, I went to the casino to do a follow-up. So I'm all done, and I'm walking back to my patrol unit parked in the front, when all of a sudden, I hear, "Security." Now, for context, it's totally reasonable to be mistaken for security, but this will factor in later. Casino security wears blue and drives little golf carts. I'm wearing a full kit, jet black, tactical uniform. My unit was a Silverado with a full police package, huge badge on the side that said "Protect and Serve." Dial 911. All the bells and whistles. So with that, I turn because, maybe someone's in trouble. And I also had some time to spare. So I turn around to see a lady who's about 40 years old, with that smug appearance standing there looking very frustrated. So the conversation begins and she says, "Finally, hey, I dropped my keys in the fountain. Call your maintenance guy to go get them." I say to her, "Oh, well, I'm not security, but I will go grab an employee for you." She then says, "No, you are a security guard. Use your little walkie-talkie to call someone." Again, I tell her, "No, I'm Officer so-and-so of the tribal enforcement, but I'll go grab someone." The woman's clearly not listening, and she screams, "Just use your damn radio. Why do you have it on you if you don't use it?" To which I say, "Ma'am, my radio doesn't go to them. It goes to a 911 dispatch center." So this continues for a few circles, and then a security guard comes by and notices her loud tone. She looks at him and says, "Hey, you, call your supervisor. This one," pointing to me, "isn't doing his job." The security guard tells her, "Ma'am, I'm the supervisor and he's not a security guard, he's a cop." The woman then screams, "Oh, you too? Is this some sort of a game you're playing with me?" So of course this has drawn a crowd. I figure the best course is to just let her scream until she's tired. The security guard says, "Ma'am, you can't act like this here, you need to leave." She then rants about the keys in the fountain, how we won't help her, and how we're all a bunch of lazy effers who just stand around collecting a paycheck. The security guy then calls maintenance, they get the keys out in no time, and she starts ranting again and calling us useless. She wants to talk to the casino manager, and that's when I cut in and say, hey, my turn to talk. Listen, look at me. Look at all the security guards. You see the difference? I'm not security, I'm law enforcement. Do you understand this? The woman then says, yeah, I get it. The woman has a face like her stroke ended, and she was learning numbers for the first time. I then say to her, good, do you understand that they've asked you to leave? The woman tries arguing, but I say, no, stop talking, you get it. Now, you have two options. You can either take your keys, get in your car, and go home, or I arrest you for criminal trespassing. I've tried to be polite, but enough is enough. Make your decision now. There wasn't another word from her, which was a smart move. The woman turns with a huff and goes to her car, and I try to fathom the stupidity to this day. I then laugh with the security guys for a second, and then go to my next call. Guys, I mean, yeah, I kind of get how she confused this officer as a security guard, because I've learned from reading a lot of these stories that some people just see a uniform and just make wild assumptions. But it's insane how some people argue when they're corrected, right? Especially when multiple people correct them. Okay, so I only found this sub recently, and I figured I'd share an ingrained memory. To give some backstory, this happened 9 years ago during the summer when I was still a 17-year-old post-high school introverted male. I had a girlfriend who at the time was going through her monthly cycle. Having just finished my shift as a receptionist for a pediatrician, I was on my way to visit her, and I was asked to pick up a few feminine products. Now, working in a pediatrician's office, I obviously know about menstrual cycles. However, that doesn't mean I wasn't embarrassed to walk through those aisles as a kid. 17-year-old me said, what the hell, I'll man up and do it for her. To be fair, I'm dressed in a deep maroon polo and khakis. So I drive to the nearest Target, took a deep breath, and walked into that scary section. Unbeknownst to my younger self, I was lost in the sea of products. And what better thing to do than to call my girlfriend and ask which one I need to grab. So I call her and say, hey, I'm at the store, which one should I be getting? Now I'm speaking in a quiet voice. My girlfriend's clearly in pain, and she says, the ones with the wings and the medium-sized tampons. I then say, what do you mean the ones with the wings? She then tells me to ask one of the workers there, and she hangs up. Now, luckily, or unluckily for me, there was a college girl who was nearby, to my embarrassment. She comes over as I was panicking, looking at the array of products, and she asked if I needed help. Me, without taking my eyes off the two products in each hand, managed to stammer, I'm supposed to get the ones with the wings and tampons. The girl says, well, I'm pretty sure your girlfriend's not gonna need that one, pointing to a supersized tampon, unless she has a cave down there. Now, if this wasn't an I don't work here post, I would have exchanged the products and hurried my way out of the store. But alas, it is. So the girl proceeds to discuss with me which products I should be buying, and as I'm conversing with her, enter the 40-year-old Karen. The Karen stomps over and says, excuse me, you shouldn't be working in the women's section. This is not the section you should be working in, young man. You are a creep. I tried to tell her, but I don't. She then interrupts me and says, don't you talk back to me. Where's the manager? This is outrageous. If I find out that you were told to work in this section, I'll have them fired. Now, at this point, I'm pissing my pants as I'm not sure what to do, so I say, ma'am, I don't. Now, before I could get another word in, the girl that was helping me out chimes in and she says, ma'am, I'm the manager of the store. My eyes finally peel off the pads and tampons in my hands, and I look up at the girl in shock. I notice that she's also wearing a red polo. The Karen starts screaming and says, you need to remove this. And that's when the girl interrupts her and says, first of all, ma'am, any gender is capable of working any section of the store. Now hearing that, Karen tries to disagree, but the girl says, nah, I'm not finished. Second of all, he's a customer, and he can damn well please shop wherever he wants. And third, maybe you should take the stick out of your butt, and just maybe you would be nicer. I have some healthy and comfortable supersized tampons right here for you if you need them, ma'am. As soon as the girl finished, the Karen says, are you seriously being this rude to me? I can't be treated this way. You just lost a loyal customer. The Karen storms out, and I turn to the girl and say, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry I caused all that trouble for you. And now you just lost a customer. The girl then looks at me and says, I don't actually work here either, but I'll be damned if I let a sexist pig get away with that kind of remark. So we then finish our conversation, share a few laughs, and I thank her for helping me. And as I'm walking away to leave, she yells, "If all else fails, buy some chocolate and throw it from afar." I'm just kidding, but seriously, buy her some food. As of today, I'm a lot better dealing with strangers, and I understand that there's pads with or without wings, and also different size tampons. I suppose that'll help me whenever I find a girlfriend again, and now I have a funny experience to share. Guys, pretending to be the manager to shut down a Karen is absolutely epic. I love how she dealt with that woman. Also, I'm pretty sure most guys have been in OP's shoes, and ladies, I want you to know that a lot of the time, when you send us to the store and we have to go into that aisle, we can never ever remember what kind of tampons, pads, or panty liners to buy, no matter how many times we go there. Guys, I've been on this quest many times, and every single time it's the same thing. I have to snap a picture, send it, and then ask, is this it? So after all my experiences with the general public, this has been the craziest, wildest, and most dumbfounding thing I've ever seen. I have never experienced someone having an utter meltdown over nothing before. So this happened today. I had to go pick up some kitty litter and garbage bags on my way home from work. So I stopped at Kroger to get said items. Naturally, I got really distracted and start wandering the frozen aisle as I was struck with the need to get ice cream. I then noticed a young man in the aisle with me. I was searching for ice cream that doesn't contain anything I'm allergic to when I hear a woman's voice. It took me a minute to realize that that voice was slowly getting louder and louder, repeating, "Excuse me," with increasing agitation. So I look over, drawn by the loud noise, and see a woman standing behind the young man. She was looking more and more angry as she kept demanding attention, and I, being the busybody I am, couldn't look away. She eventually reached out and jabbed her finger into the man's shoulder, and he spun around, and I mean spun around, looking utterly startled. She immediately lays into him saying, "I've been trying to get your attention forever. How dare you ignore me when you're paid for this utter garbage customer service? I need help," yada yada yada. I then realized, with my own slow, dawning confusion and horror, the same emotion you'd feel if you were watching a Chihuahua pick a fight with a Saint Bernard, or seeing a car crash, that she thought he was an employee. I honestly couldn't look away. So the woman was getting more and more angry, and the young man began to flash his hands at her. I instantly realized that he was deaf. It was pretty obvious. He was pointing at his ear repeatedly, and he was trying to sign. This only infuriates the woman even more, and she starts swinging her hands around saying, "Look, I can do that too. Now show me where the pizzas are, damn it." The young man was starting to look really terrified, and I couldn't help but to step in. I work in social work currently with addicts, but before that, I was in foster care. And before that, I was a security guard, so I have a strong urge to butt into any and all things that don't involve me if I feel someone needs to be protected. I then briskly walk up and gently pull the kid away. I explain curtly but politely to the woman that he clearly doesn't work there and he was most likely deaf, and could she please calm down, she was causing a scene. She then accused the young man of lying to get out of doing his job, that he was faking being deaf, and how the hell did I know he was deaf? I then point out that he was clearly signing and he was doing so behind me. She then challenged me and said, "If he's deaf, you should tell me what he's saying." I just stared at her and said, "I don't speak American Sign Language." I explained this and point out that it's pretty effing clear that he can't hear and that she should just go F off somewhere. Now, of course, the language triggers her and she attempted to grab me. Now, if I could walk around with a sign attached to me with big ass lettering that said, "Do not touch," I would. My first instinct was pretty much slap her hand, unbalancing her and sending her careening into the nearby glass case. The lady then proceeded to lose her absolute mind. She starts bawling, leaning against the glass case like I've broken her spine or something. The woman was screaming at the top of her lungs, and I swear to God, every Kroger employee in that store probably converged on our location in seconds. I then quickly explained what's going on to the first employee, and then to the manager, who appeared just as quickly. The manager takes one look at me, then to the poor kid who just looked like he wanted to die of embarrassment and terror, and then to the woman who was still screaming about how I've broken her body and to call the police. The manager swung about and started rapid-fire signing to the young man, who looked so relieved that he's about to cry. She then turns to the woman and told her in the coldest, most frosty voice I've ever heard in my life that the cops would be called, but it wouldn't be me nor the young deaf man facing their wrath. The woman just stared at her blankly, going completely pale. She then gets up and sprints out of the store. The police were called, we filed a complaint, but as the woman left, there wasn't much we could do. The nice young man then signed, "Thank you," the only sign I really know, and we parted ways. I drove home and promptly cracked open a bottle of wine because honestly, what the actual F? I was still in shock. The only thing I could think is the lady must have had some mental issues, but I mainly feel so bad for the kid. Being in such a hostile situation with no way to communicate, poor guy. Yeah, OP was definitely the hero that day, guys, and yes, the woman might have been a little loony to begin with. Just like a lot of these Karens are, right? And guys, I always find it so funny how people can grab and attack others, but as soon as the person fights back, they call for police. Like, are you serious, Karen? Okay, so I hate that this is my second post here, but that's what happens when you work the same retail job for a couple of years. This is more of an I don't work here now lady. So my work happens to be my regular grocery store. I like shopping there on grocery day because, you know, I get a ton of freebies and discounts. On this particular Saturday, I decide to do my weekly shopping before starting a new week of being verbally abused for $13 an hour. And I should also make it clear here, I wasn't in my work clothes. My normal attire for work is cargo pants and my work shirt. And on this particular day, I decide to wear a Hawaiian shirt and shorts. I don't know why. As I set my orange juice in my cart, I can feel someone staring at me. This is the kind of intense stare that you can only feel after they've been checking you out for a good minute or so. So I turn around and I see this customer that I recognize immediately. The woman comes by nearly every day for random little household goods or weird little overpriced succulents. And she's got some poorly behaved kids too, but they weren't with her. I turned back around, figuring she didn't have anything to say to me. She didn't ask me a question, didn't tell me I dropped something, nothing. So I go back to shopping and start debating which almond milk is less crappy when I feel her staring at me again. Now this time, I make it a point to turn back around and make eye contact with her. The woman then says, "It's about damn time you noticed me. I don't know what happened to the employees here. Everybody used to be so nice. Now you people barely even acknowledge a loyal customer." She then proceeds to march right up to me and crosses her arms like she's my mom or something. I then say, "Miss, I helped you out a few days ago, you don't remember? If there's a question that you have that I can quickly answer, I can do that, but I'm here on my day off. I'm not supposed to work when I'm not clocked in." Now, the woman looks at me like I just spoke a foreign language and she huffs, "Well, you shouldn't be in here on your day off then. If you don't want to help, go home." At this point, I'm beginning to get irritated. Normally, I wave them off, but because I'm not in my work clothes, I have the freedom to be a little bit bitchier. I say to her, "I understand I see you during my shifts, but this isn't one of them. You're trying to make me work on a day I have off, and I don't get many of them. Technically, I shouldn't even be helping you out like I originally offered. Thank you for reminding me." I then shove the almond milk back on the cooler and walk away. Now, of course, she marches off to complain with the manager immediately. They called me up to the front thinking I was on shift. When I explain what happened, my manager just laughs at the lady. The woman's always been a bit of a problem customer, so we never really bother with her complaints because she's got a lot of them. She even threatened to call corporate, so my manager wrote the number down and dared her to call them. My manager told her, "Go for it. While you're at it, tell them what you told my employee. They'll love to know that you tried to harass him." The woman still shops there, but now she actively avoids me when I'm a cashier or bagging. Not a very exciting story, but it still cracks me up. Honestly, I'd count that as a win, guys. Getting to tell off a rude customer, not being reprimanded for it, and then never having to deal with that customer again. Yeah, cue the victory music. And that, my friends, wraps up another episode of r/IDontWorkHereLady. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the stories today. If you did, hit that thumbs up. And if you missed the last episode on the channel, I'm gonna link it right here. A mega Karen accuses OP of faking cancer. It's such a ridiculous episode. It's such a wild story, so go check it out if you haven't. And myself and Stevie Boy will see you guys in the next one. We love you.